What's up everyone, it's your girl Brady Shanae, and today I'll be doing a book review for the one and only Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. So if you want to know my thoughts or what I thought about this book, please stay tuned. And I'm back, and also if you're new to my channel, welcome. So like I said before, I went to a book review about this amazing book. At first I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but then again I changed it to a 5-star read for me. This is Jennifer Saint's debut book. This is a retelling pretty much of Ariadne, which is a Greek mythology story. And with this book, it's a feminist book. This is featuring pretty much how women in any stories and mythologies, legends, stuff like that, women were treated badly and they were looked down upon based on the actions and the wrongdoing of men. So a lot of women's stories, especially just in general, are not being told correctly, or just not being told, period, and always the men are overshadowing the women's stories. So we get more information about Ariadne, her background, what she went through, and the conclusion of her story. So Ariadne, she has a father named Minos, or Minos, whatever you want to pronounce it, or however you want to pronounce it. And he is the king of Crete. And so before Ariadne, she knows the stories of her, I believe it's her sister, who she had betrayed her father. And so since he felt like she did something that betrayed him, he decided to pretty much drown her, and that was the cost of her life. The cost of her life is the reason why, the reason why he did that, because of the betrayal that she had, for her I keep saying brother, her father Minos. And so Ariadne knows everything about that, and so she tries to make sure she pleases her father and everything like that. And she also has a mother who also is treated badly, and she reaps pretty much the backlash of her husband Minos's actions, because Minos had asked Poseidon, who is the king of the ocean, the seas, and what have you, the god of the seas, and he had asked him for something, I feel like it was like some type of monster or beast to make him feel dominant or whatever. He used him, but also to bring him back in exchange, I believe, and Minos didn't do that. So of course the woman had to pay the price for that, right? For pretty much lying to the god, the Poseidon. So pretty much her mom was just not in the right mind, and she ended up having sex with a creature. It's like a bull or whatever. And so and from doing so, she ended up pregnant with pretty much a minotaur. And pretty much as she was giving birth to him, it was pretty much shattering her body and tearing her body in half. But she healed properly, or she healed based on the fact that her blood is from a god named Helios. So she survived it, but she was never the same after what Poseidon had did to her to punish her because of her husband's wrongdoing. And so that's the main point of the story, right? It's like women being punished because of what the men do. And even in this book, Ariadne's, one of her maids or whatever, told her a story about Medusa, and how Medusa loved her hair and everything like that. And a lot of men loved her because of her beautiful hair. And then one day, Medusa goes to one of the temples of Athena. And then you have Perseus, who is also a god, ends up raping Medusa. And Athena sees this, and she's like, you have pretty much defiled my temple. And instead of punishing Perseus, Athena punishes Medusa, and that's where she gets the snakes in her hair and everything like that, and she turns people into stone. And so she just goes berserk and starts putting people into everybody goes into stone, out of revenge, and the cost of her beautiful hair and of herself that she loved. And so at the end of the day, the person that raped her, Perseus, is also the same person that killed her, because she was putting people into stone. So it's crazy how for somebody that raped her, she's the one that gets the backlash, right? And I think that's also to this very day, when it comes to women, it seems like it's always the woman's fault. Oh, well, what was she wearing, or was she acting a certain way, or she is just excuses and trying to justify the fact that a woman has been raped. And so literally Medusa got punished for literally Perseus's wrongdoing. So Ariadne is trying to make sure that she stays, she doesn't go about doing anything that would jeopardize herself or her little sister, who she's really close with. Her name is Phaedra, and that's her little sister, and she's very close with her. And so they made a pact, pretty much a promise, that they would stick together, and if they leave Crete, when they finally are able to leave this crazy land of theirs, that they will leave together. Because since their brother is a minotaur, he's vicious, and he's on the rampage now, where he actually kills Ariadne's maid. And so they put him up into like a maze or a labyrinth, and he's this monster, and literally they can hear him literally as they're sleeping, because they're like, he's down below the palace or the castle. So that's why they want to escape. They want to escape this terror that's pretty much living with them down below. And so one day, we have these tributes, which are pretty much Athenian children from Athens. And on that ship was a prince of Athens. His name is Theseus, and he aborts the ship, and he wants to pretty much be a part of the sacrifice, because he feels like he should let innocent children have their lives be taken by this minotaur, for the minotaur to demolish them and eat them, pretty much as tribute, because Crete is like the powerhouse. So in order to stay in Crete's good graces, or Minos' good graces, that's what they have to do on a regular basis, like every year. But Ariadne has a liking to Theseus, and so Theseus is like, okay, maybe you can help me with this and this, and so they plan this escape. But it was a coup, pretty much. Ariadne was mesmerized by Theseus, and never really saw him for what he really was. She was just mesmerized by his actions of trying to sacrifice himself for his people and all this stuff, like a facade, a ruse, pretty much. And so she did this to help him, and out of all of that, he does end up killing the minotaur, her brother, who I believe his real name is Asterion, which is like a star or something like that. But Minos had declared his name as the Minotaur. So as Ariadne finds a way to get Theseus and the children to escape without being killed by the Minotaur, they go to an island named Naxos, which is not far from Crete. And, Ariadne had given herself to him because she loved him. She said, okay, when we get to Athens, I'm going to be your wife, and everything like that. Next thing you know, she wakes up and nobody's there. He left her on the island as he pretty much takes the victory and says, yes, I defeated the Minotaur, like he had no help at all. Like, I feel like that's really, really famous. When it comes to history, it's always a woman that does not ever get the credit. Ever. They're never told, which is another reason why I love this book, because it gives you a retelling of something that is in history of women not getting the credit that they deserved. So with that, she's left off in Naxos, but then she finds oh god, I don't remember his name, but she ends up meeting another god, and he's really and she's mesmerized by him, and he's very kind to Ariadne, something that she never experienced before by any men, because a lot of the men in her life always disappointed her. So pretty much she ends up it's Dicenius, I forget, I think that's the god's name, and she ends up marrying him. They have kids together and what have you. And then Phaedra, she actually did not know that Theseus had abandoned her on the ship. She assumed that Ariadne was killed in the process, and that's what Theseus had told Phaedra. And so with this being concerned of like everybody, how she helped Theseus escape and everything, that's when her father just went on a rampage, left Crete behind, with no guardian, with nothing protecting Crete itself. So that's when her big brother decided to take over Crete for now, until their father comes back, which he never does. And so with that alone, he told him, like, okay, so in order to make peace with Athens and the Athenians, we're going to have you marry Theseus. So this is Phaedra. And so Phaedra goes to Athens and she marries Theseus. Theseus tells her that, yeah, when we left, she died. Somebody, like a serpent or something, killed her and everything like that. And Phaedra didn't believe him at first, but then after 7 years plus years pass on, she feels like, okay, her sister is gone. And also with Ariadne, she also has children with a god. And out of all this, out of everything like this, Phaedra realizes that she never wanted to be married. She never wanted to have children. And then she finally realizes that Ariadne is alive and they do talk to each other. And then all of a sudden, Phaedra tells her that she's in love with her stepson, which Theseus just met her, because apparently Theseus has also had raped Hippolyta, for the queen of the Amazons, and she ended up being pregnant and having Hippolytus, which is Theseus' son. So he has that's his son, and so Hippolytus decides to live with him in Athens, and Phaedra, which is Ariadne's little sister, just is falling in love with him, and Hippolytus doesn't want nothing to do with it. So, and Ariadne said to leave it alone. That's not right. You shouldn't do this. It's just not good. Be with Theseus. Just be loyal to him. And Phaedra just did not want that. So Phaedra was trying to pour out her love to Hippolytus, and it backfired. And she realized that what she did was wrong. It was disloyal to her husband. And then she ends up killing herself. She ends up hanging herself. And Ariadne was disgraced, and she just left to go back to Naxos to be with her family and her husband. But after all of that, that's when Dicenius, her husband, Ariadne's husband, ends up being greedy and wanting people to, he's like the god of wine, and he wants people to worship him, and he ends up having this big quarrel with Perseus, and with everything with the quarrel with versus her husband and Perseus, Ariadne is the one that suffers. And Perseus, like I said, is the one had killed Medusa and cut her head off. He has a shield pretty much like with her head and everything, where it can turn people into stone. And literally that's what happens to Ariadne for protecting her husband. That's the sacrifice that she made because of her husband's wrongdoings. So even with, like, I wish there was a happy ending to Ariadne, but it's real. Like, a lot of women are overshadowed and they get persecuted for men's wrongdoings. And I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. Like I literally said 4.5, and then I changed it to a 5 because it's really that good. I really enjoyed Jennifer Saint's writing. I love the backlog between Phaedra and Ariadne, so we get more information about Phaedra, what's going through her head, and also what's going through Ariadne's head. Like, first she's like, okay, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And then she got fooled another time, and then she paid the price for it. Like I said, I really enjoyed this book. Like, I took my time reading it because I think it has a lot of like detailed things that I, wanted to remember, keep in my brain, because there's a lot of things that's going on within this book, as far as like her husband, Theseus, Phaedra, like all the backstory and everything like that. And I found this story really beautiful. It was written really well. I have no complaints at all about it. I think it was a great pace. There wasn't any like slow motion. Like, the story was smooth. Like I said, no complaints over here. But that is my book review for the one and only Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I really like, if you haven't read this book, go ahead and pick that up. I'm also thinking about getting the UK edition, which it's like a blue and like gold foiling on the cover. So I might just do that and get that copy as well. This is my book of the month copy, which I really did love. Like, I read this in May and it was really good. So I recommend this if you love anything about Greek mythology or anything like that, or anything like feminist related type of any type of book. I think this would be a real good book for you to pick up. Retellings, this is another good book. And if you aren't really into Greek mythology, this might be a really good introduction to it. So I highly recommend it. And like, if you do pick it up, let me know down below what you thought of it after you read it. But that is it, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed my little review about this amazing book. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys, and please stay healthy and stay safe. See ya.